Hello, everybody.
Hey there, reboot enthusiasts.
Right? So I'm Robin.
I'm Katie.
Yeah, and welcome to the name our show, Katie.
The reboot record.
The reboot record. I guess, well, that's what
Alphanumeric.
It's alphanumeric. I think the record is what we're doing here now.
Yes.
Maybe we'll just go with the reboot review.
The reboot review.
Especially since I've kind of already got a YouTube channel set up.
It's alphanumeric.
Okay. So enough of that, guys. So what we are here to talk about is obviously some Reboot. We are going to be watching episodes of Reboot here and reminiscing about them and talking about maybe things that hold up, things that seem a little bit silly now, maybe sharing some cool trivia that you don't know about the show. So we're starting here with episode 1, and I have a question for you, Katie.
A question,
yeah, because we are both long time Reboot fans. I won't get into it too much right now, but we were watching the show since the beginning, pretty much. And I want to ask you, do you remember watching your first episode of Reboot? Do you have a memory of that? It's okay if you don't.
It's foggy, but no, I remember being amazed because they had so many commercials leading up to it, and so we knew it was coming, and I remember it truly blowing my mind.
Did you watch the premiere, the world premiere of it?
I was very young.
Were you watching The Tearing on YTV in the fall of 1994, or on ABC for that matter?
It was ABC.
Okay, you're watching the Saturday morning broadcast.
So the Saturday morning one. But I watched it with my siblings. And I remember. I totally remember.
And it was just oh my gosh, this is
the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I did watch what I believe was the world premiere. And the funny thing, it's funny you talk about seeing a bunch of promotions for it, because I don't think I saw much promotion for it at all. I have a memory of watching the Friday night lineup on YTV and it just being and coming up next, Reboot. And I was what kind of name for a show was that? And it was, of course, the first episode, The Tearing, which I have it written down here. It premiered on September 9th, 1994. And I was so I was just watching it as sure, let's just check this out. And by the end of it, I was so enthralled that the next morning I saw that it was on ABC's One Saturday Morning lineup, which I also watched. And I watched it again. I was just I was hoping it would be a new episode, but I kind of was savvy enough by then to know that it wasn't. I would have been 12, I think, 11 going on 12. Yeah.
That is actually one of the big things I remember about the first year of it airing, was waiting and waiting and waiting and watching the same episodes over and over and over.
Yeah, that too. All the long hiatuses that were in there. But
they kept airing them.
Yeah, that too, yeah. But a big part of it for me was just watching it on Friday night and then watching it again Saturday morning just to remember it all.
It had that. It had the rewatchability for sure.
And the funny thing is sort of segueing into a little bit why we're doing this. I don't want to get into too much right now because I want us to start watching this episode. But one of the reasons for doing this is that I've rewatched the show very recently, and I was actually quite amazed at how much it held up. And a lot of my friendship with Katie, being based on many great things over the years.
It's only Reboot.
But it was a lot of it started out based on Reboot.
It's true.
Yeah. And our love of Reboot has linked us through the years. So, Katie, how long has it been since you watched the show, maybe?
It's been forever. I own the DVDs, and I haven't actually taken the time to sit down and watch them.
Yeah, so I was okay, we're definitely gonna sit down and watch these and then record what we think of them for the world to hear.
Yes.
So you're welcome.
The whole world is hearing this right now.
Or as Katie was putting it about the Reboot fandom, all 60 of you.
Yes.
Yeah, dozens.
Can I use the dozens joke?
Well, now that I've scooped it from you.
I know.
Sorry. Okay, so without further ado, let's get to watching the first episode, The Tearing. And I hope what I hope is that you're reminiscing with us, and that if you were also maybe watching that first episode then, or watching
turn
it
off, turn us off, and just
Cartoon
watch
Network.
it for the first time.
Well, I guess I should say that we're assuming that you have seen the show already. We're going to be talking over most of it and
ruining it.
Yeah, laying down
basically.
all kinds of third season spoilers all over the place. So yeah, we're assuming you've already seen this show. But if you see it here and you're interested, turn us off, go watch it. And if you have seen it before, we hope you remember watching these episodes and go back to the place where you were, much like I go back to where I was when I was 11 and seeing the world premiere on YTV. So, yeah. All right, well, without further ado, let's do this. All right, so...
So exciting.
Yeah, isn't it?
She just put it in full screen.
Yeah, it's in full screen now, guys. We're ready to watch. And I am starting now.
I come from the net.
Through systems, peoples, and cities
to this
place.
Mainframe.
My format, Guardian. To mend,
and defend.
To
To defend my newfound friends.
Their hopes and dreams. To
defend them from
their enemies.
So what I love about these 90s opening credits sequences is how it was all just like spoilers, but only for like the first 4 episodes of the show. So you could watch the opening credits and be like, what's that scene gonna mean? And like actually get like really hyped for all these things that you hadn't seen yet in the first like 3 episodes of the season.
It's true. We're finally seeing this specific.
Yeah, and then it's really weird when you see it in the context of the episode.
Yes, it doesn't quite make as much sense, or what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it never is what you think it's going to be.
For sure.
But I intend to find out.
ReBoot. I'm wearing my icon, by the way. I'm going to get into Katie's ReBoot craftiness maybe a little bit later on, but she made me an icon from what is this? Fimo, that's right. Yeah, it's Fimo. I always forget the names of these things. So.
Okay, let's review. Hack is red, slash is blue.
Wait. Yes.
Hack is red.
Yes, yeah, Hack is the red one. Yeah, because Hack's kind of the more like abrasive one.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, it was a really catchphrasey show.
Yes, it really was.
There was a lot of and then a lot of this delightful
Sorry,
pratfally
guys. End program.
kind
Better
of
luck
stuff.
next cycle.
Bob, all I ask is a simple favor.
That was an interesting thing in the article that I sent to you. Is
Because
like
I never do favors for slime.
how things like the vid window
just a
we
theory.
would take for granted now
Yes.
as just like a thing.
Yes.
Like video calling or whatever. But it felt like this
My
like
friends,
super
what do they have to
futury
do with
sci-fi
anything?
inside your computer
Only
thing.
inside a computer could this possibly
Right,
happen.
yeah. I mean, I guess they're still not exactly popping up holographically in front of us, but it feels like it's only a matter of time before that's the case.
Yeah, well, it's handheld. It's close enough. You can hold it up and
basically, just put it in
dangle
front
your
of your
phone
face.
on a string. That's how I wake up every day.
In like a cloud of some kind of plasma
Yes.
essence. Yeah, it's interesting when we spend time in Bob's like living, like his abode.
Yeah, they
'cause-
never do that in later seasons.
No, and it's like, and Dot doesn't get a house.
No, she lives
just
at
gets the
she lives
diner.
at
There's an house.
which constantly is under attack.
I just assume she lives in that like crummy basement that we're gonna see later on here.
What do we do about spoilers? Because I was totally going to just be like,
You know, this is for people who've already seen the show. Let's spoil away.
well, I'm just saying she's an orphan. Like, she doesn't have a home.
Well, she's got a little brother.
Also an orphan. Oh, Frisket.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
He hates
And
cool.
He truly does. Yeah. He's very anti-cool. That was, okay,
The
so...
story from the article.
I know
the
about how Cecil was actually like, okay, so we were reading an article,
Ever heard of
it
a
was written
frisket?
by, oh gosh, I have his name written down here somewhere. I'm going to link to it in the description here somewhere. It's a really great article on BuzzFeed about the sort of creation of the show. And he talks about how Cecil was actually named for a strip club where they met for drinks and like meetings and stuff while the rendering was happening, because back in the day it used to take a really long time, and that is why Cecil is on a brass rail.
I truly just learned this today.
Yeah, we'll
Years.
And it's kind of
Yeah, but
years.
I can't deal with the downside.
after just taking
tainted.
Cecil for granted.
I know.
Yeah.
Named after a strip club.
Named after a strip club, which I don't know, seems to say a lot about how the show was made now that I've sort of seen this like behind the scenes look behind that's like in this article. That's by a guy whose name I have written down as I'm flipping through pages. Okay, here we are. Matthew Braga. It's a BuzzFeed article, and I'm going to link to it in the description because it's really worth reading.
Definitely.
But yeah,
Face.
Okay, no favors for Mr. Megavirus. I'm gonna file myself.
I remember
right
when I
here
was
to
a
make
kid,
sure
I
he doesn't
actually kind of
crash
hated
this place
Enzo's
again.
face.
Yeah, he tended to be animated very like in Dot's face. Like there's all these shots throughout ReBoot that are like,
Uh-oh.
I'm not afraid of old
Look
Mega
behind you.
okay, this is actually a really great shot.
It is.
There's a lot of things that the show actually does really well that I want to point out.
But we're still
And
in
like
business.
the thought that was put into making this like dramatic and cool and interesting, given it's basically a phone conversation.
Yeah, it's true. I like the moving.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
swirling.
like the moving camera, which I guess was the thing you could do once you had computer animation and. But like
That's
a way
right.
to stage like all these people speaking at once without it being just like shot reverse shot and super static.
And I might be able to keep this from happening again.
But yeah, at the same time, there are all these kinds of like weird shots that are like
Don't
a
concern
good
yourself, Megabyte.
half
I'm
a
staying
second
right
too
here to
long.
make sure nothing else happens.
And it
I may
seemed
be
like
the
it
new
should be
spread
an
in town, but-
easy thing to fix.
What a fortunate return.
But they just kind of leave these things like hanging here.
Which is part of the charm, I think. It's the weird half-done vibe that just makes it that kitschy, lovable.
Yeah, which apparently when a lot of the
As usual,
animators
they'll all do
showed
so badly
this to
inside
people,
the
like to
game.
other people for jobs as part of their portfolio to get other jobs, they thought it was like draft.
Yes.
I mean, I haven't said it, a lot of it looks really good.
I know, look at this shot right here. I mean, that's actually pretty cool. I was expecting it to look way worse after a few years hiatus of not seeing it.
Yeah, just in terms of like the rendering and the
Can't play
quality.
any games until you finish your work for me.
Shout out to Tony J.
I know, he's just so good.
Bob, wait.
So it's like you know, I know he was like an old guy when he made this, but I'm just sad every time I remember
I
that
know.
he'll never be Megabyte again.
No.
I mean, not that we were likely to ever kind of get a Megabyte again at this point.
We were lucky to get the 4th season.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Really.
Megabyte.
Music by Bob Buckley. I guess this is kind of like the Megabyte theme.
Yeah.
This comes up sort of over and over again.
It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah,
Really start thinking about it. Oh,
It feels like very nice and
I had a
ominous.
feeling
and-
Megabyte's thuds
Is this the
would
only
be
time
here.
we see Dot's car?
Did I make it?
probably.
It's not
pretty
ever
swanky.
happened. Yeah, it is. Like, given how unreliable Bob's car
Probably
is.
had to repo it though.
Yeah. After the diner got destroyed enough times.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it was bad for the environment, even inside a computer.
I'm sure there's some kind of emissions.
No! No! No!
No, I don't know what that
Win
means.
without Bob?
Right?
I hope.
Game over. User wins.
I do remember, even as a child,
Game
I
over.
did understand that
User wins.
if you win a game and it destroys your computer, that can't go on for very long. And that, as a child, I did have a hard time suspending my disbelief on that one.
Right, understanding that you weren't actually nullifying sprite. Given like this is a pretty
Just done
heavy
Megabyte a little
scene.
favor. None of this would
Yeah,
happen.
that's true.
Wait,
It's
You know?
very, very true.
Before you do
Like just
anything,
with like the music and Bob not being able to be the hero.
Well, my mom actually didn't want us watching it in front of my little sister, who would have been like a preschooler at the time, because she said it was too scary.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we were like, no, it's not scary at all. But I mean, I can see
For
it.
someone that age, yeah, it does, even in the early seasons, which are quite a bit lighter, still gets into some fairly heavy stuff. Paul.
It's only a matter of time, guys, before this is reality.
It already is in the world of like
If you're
VR.
rich.
Yeah. I want to vibe so I can play Pong with Fong.
Pong with Pong.
Pong with Fong. It'd be a good name for a game too.
Of my advice. What did you need?
Even
Well,
though in the rest of the
Megabyte
series,
has
Bob
asked me to
never
do him
has
a
to play a game
favor.
with Fong to earn his advice again. I guess it's like a one-off thing.
My advice is
Yeah,
to
yeah, you
stay
do it
away
once.
from him.
And then it's like, okay, you know what, you're good.
I trust. I'm gonna just skip this whole step.
And something really interesting I
finding
just want to
that
point out
out.
he mentioned here is like when Fong would refer to the command com as some other individual
Yes.
that he
won't
was
say.
ostensibly in charge and was some kind of mystery, and then eventually they just dropped that.
Yeah, it's true.
And Fong just, I think they just considered him the command com. They refer to him as the command com. in
They
later
do.
seasons,
Yeah,
don't
I
they?
remember later on.
Megabyte.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you got
I
promoted.
think they get rid of it pretty quickly.
Look
This
at that
idea
face.
of those things are like, yeah, the show did definitely have its like uncanny valley moments. At the same time, there were a lot of things that did
I've
very
already
well.
heard that
Yes,
speech.
which
Stick
of course
together.
goes along with the fact that
I'll
they
go
were trying to
back and
fast
talk to the
track
others. Thanks.
their development.
Yeah,
so.
that's the thing about this show is that, like, when you read about the especially the technical background behind it, they were making this up as they went. For those of you who don't know, I can't imagine any ReBoot fans wouldn't, but this was the first fully CGI series, and it predates Toy Story, the first film, by a year. And they were figuring out how to make a computer animated show at the same time that they were making a computer animated show. Yeah.
I see now that you're the big circuit in town. I'll throw my chips
I wonder
in
how
with
they
you.
decided what to do with Bob's hair.
Yes, that's a really good question. I mean, it's amazing how
his bum.
it's
I
not.
mean, look at that.
That's a really weird butt shot. It's just like it just looks like his eyes kind of at his torso.
really a bum at all.
No, it wasn't really.
Sorry, Bob.
It's funny. Given
You
that
get nice hair,
the-
but no
the show-
bum.
Well, the show does focus on his bum quite a bit.
Later
at
on.
points later on.
Oh, wait,
Maybe when they're
yes.
better at rendering
Is Bob
bums.
still there?
Yes.
That was one of the things they didn't know how to do first. Figured it out.
How to render a bum. At least not a dude bum.
Load.
Maybe it was easier to like, design Dot, who like I don't think of her design as being kind of like
Not being from mainframe,
sex
you'll have to
kittenish or
forgive me.
whatever,
It's taken me a
but,
while to realize the
I did read some like
advantage of
early development documents or like see early sketches that led me to believe that was what they were going for.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I have seen pictures of what she was supposed to look like, and she was supposed to look very punk-ish, like very, very edgy and cool.
Yeah, which is I guess what they alluded to when you saw her in season 4. Is
I think that's right.
Yeah.
But then it is funny because I'm sure that's the best they could do.
Well, and it might have been a combination of that and ABC taking the reins, because a lot of stuff that they were trying to push the lines on, ABC was like drawing them back. This is another shot that's like really good for kind of like I feel it. Like I get what they're going for in terms of establishing the shock and awe of Megabyte's army.
Yeah.
And like for what this is, it sells it. Even though that's a very long shot of Bob just looking around. You gotta get his full reaction. I always kind of liked that shot though.
Yes, that one has stuck with me.
Yeah. Although, was that in the opening credits at one point though? 'Cause I feel like, I just know it very well. Oh, that was a nice like pupil shrink. I forget the word for that. Pupil
Dilation?
shrinking.
Wait.
Dilating is when it goes the other way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But pupil
Just like
shrinkers.
those, like pupil shrinkers.
Pupil shrink.
But yeah, this is like a nice little detail of like that light hitting you.
Yeah, it does. It shows that they really,
You know what?
really,
They really
put a lot
cared
of
about
thought.
details. There's
Yeah.
one I remember that I'm going to point out in just a minute.
It leads to the supercomputer. Class 12. Normal pulse. Above average volatility.
You Guardians certainly know your tears, don't you?
That's the idea.
It's simple, Bob. All you need to do is stabilize this tear into a portal.
I wonder if
That's your
Tony J
favor?
grew to
That's
love
what you
the
need me
show. I never knew what his take on it
You
was.
know
I know it was a
Guardians
paycheck
games
Yeah.
dropped
at
by
one
users
point.
are able
Yes.
to
But I don't know if it
stabilize
was
tears like
always a
these.
paycheck.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
much more
I don't know if he ever even
intimate
commented on
than
it, like on
any
terms of what he
user.
thought about the show aside from
But he must have had
word.
so many fans.
Oh yeah, and what's this?
Got some,
If you didn't notice, if you didn't see what we're talking about,
shall we say.
rewind back and watch that again because it's just the one bino
Let a virus like
who
you and
just
your
like
army visit a
reacts.
supercomputer through a stable portal?
But then that's it. Like he doesn't like get in position or anything. It's just like
guarantee
this
do I
one
have that
little
you won't spread
reaction,
the
which
news?
is just
You don't
like
raise
again
the
the
armor.
attention to detail they were putting into making this. Like
I think that is, yeah, like there's something to be said just about the binomes in the show.
Yeah.
Like it's just all of the different background characters who become
I should have.
like these cult favorites because of the attention to detail.
Yeah,
and how much work they put
and
into
giving them
jokes.
individual personalities. And
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you see a lot of the same stuff with, I'm not a huge fan of the modern My Little Pony, but I like it. And you see like
Yes,
background
that's
ponies.
right,
That,
exactly.
So like I think it's a proud tradition of well-made
do,
cartoons
erase me?
that background characters kind of
Gags.
Yeah.
Gags. And that's adds to the rewatchability. The fact that there's so many more things to discover every time.
I know. Like even how many times we've seen this episode?
Dramatics again.
If necessary.
Then I'll take you
And
with me as
I
insurance.
think you really do just have
How
to
do you
commend the
know
voice
I'm not
acting in the
willing to
show
go
in
through a
general.
tear?
Yes.
It does so much for the show, and
Hi, everybody.
the personalities of everyone just come across so well.
Melee! No, it's a ruckus! A riot! Outside! Right outside!
Awful. Riot? They're harmless. Don't bother me with this now. Take her back to the tower and file
So
lock her in
smash the
data
solid
storage.
state.
Wow, that was really
I
easy to
wouldn't
tip
even
over.
know.
It's just very strong.
Bob never misses leg day. Oh, and then random stuff. Oh my! Oh no! Actually, I'm surprised ABC let that one slide because ABC was pretty like non-violent.
They're gonna have a shot of him just going, I'm okay.
That was some
That's
plan.
how they get away with it.
What plan? I knew if I let Hack and Slash capture me, they'd take me to Megabyte.
that feels so
I figured
good.
you'd be with him. I'm making up the rest as I go along.
You've been
He just
around me
cannot
too
stop
long.
groping his chest. There we go. Oh no, this part coming up.
Oh, yeah.
That was scary.
Yeah, I could see this being creepy. Yeah, that's true. He did kind of have like that, and that was the cool thing about Megabyte as a character was how well they transitioned
soon.
between like. Oh, that's such a classic line.
Rude.
Yeah. Totally every commercial for ReBoot ever had
Yeah,
that
pretty much
exact
had
one.
that. But yeah, how Megabyte transitioned so quickly between the sort of
Well, how
urbane
convenient.
facade that he had and the sort of bestial nature that you felt was actually him.
Yes.
Like it's like this is all just kind of a front, and Megabyte's really just an animal bent on destruction when you get down to the bare bones of it.
Wow, very excellent character analysis, Robin.
Thank you. I think about these things
You get a star.
much.
I don't have any stars to give you.
Oh gosh. Shouldn't offer me these things if you don't have them. Reboot? Is that that's the first
Just
time
if you say it, you can't actually participate. I just want you to know. You'll say it as much as you want, but you can't play the game.
you can't make me stop trying.
True, but it's not the user I'm worried about. Where's Megabyte?
Something about the games always felt like yeah, they were classic game archetypes, but okay. So we're gonna go into one of what's become
with the
my
user.
favorite thought experiment for
doing?
Reboot.
Viral takeover.
And the game
He's expecting
specifically.
the user's guess is
Imagine a
not
game,
good.
any game
Bummer.
from Reboot,
Now we
from the
gotta
user's
beg-
point of view.
He's coming
Like
around
imagine
again.
you've come in and you're playing
not.
this
He'll head for the tear. It's a
space
class
pilot
12.
game,
He knows the game will
and
stabilize it into a
your
portal.
avatar is
gotta
suddenly
beat him.
taken over, and you're no longer controlling it anymore, but the game is still happening. Are
Yeah.
you the user just watching your virus-controlled avatar like
And
fly around
like
play
either
this game?
enjoying it
Right.
because it's pretty intense,
Yeah.
or
The tear is now a
like
stable
actually
portal
doing
at the
something
end
to
of the
fix
third
your
level.
computer.
You've
Yeah,
gotta
like I
nail
feel like at
Megabyte
this
before you
point
can
I
get
would
to
be
him.
like control alt deleting out of there.
Yeah, exactly. There's a ghost in my
Computer, basically, yeah. Like that would be really
got
freaky.
asteroids dead
And there's a
ahead.
lot of points in the game, or in the show rather, where you can look at games from the user perspective and be like, that would be extremely weird. It doesn't really hold up.
It's funny because I think there's a lot of thought on who the user is, and I think the general consensus is that it's like this person who doesn't know anything about computers is obviously an avid gamer,
Yeah.
and is incredibly
Giant
lazy,
people.
and maybe a little bit
Yeah, because they're just like, yeah, I guess I'll just let this virus play for me. He might do a better job than I do.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, like the games always felt very sort of retro in terms of, because even the gaming that was happening at the time was a little bit more advanced than just you have one life and you're driving your like space plane around in dogfights.
Yeah, but I mean, then it's like, what games would you be playing on your computer? Because
That too. Yeah,
I think that games on consoles were way advanced compared to like computer run games, which were often really slow and blocky and kind of more like this.
Well, yeah, depending on what your like computer specs would have been back in the day.
Like lazy loser user.
Yeah, that's his name from now on. I'm writing that
Lazy
down.
loser user.
Lazy loser user. Assuming I can continue saying
Many
it.
times he allows his computer to come into its peril.
Right. And just sits back and watches the show.
I'd probably
And this thing is even Megabyte branded. That was just Megabyte symbol we saw on the screen, and like this. Also, wait a minute. So does the user get control over this thing too, or is that just them acting as like opposite sprites, like opposing sprites or
This
something?
is kind of like a time travel discussion. We don't really can't go too deep.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's again like it doesn't hold up to any kind of scrutiny. And like, yeah, look, like ice planets used because it's like they're easy to render.
It's like, I know, that's all I can think now when I watch a show is like what choices they made because it was easier to fast track it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, yeah, sure, making snow look like this. I mean, I don't want to say it was easy because they still obviously put like effort into texturing environments. And classic cartoon sound effects. They don't show up so much in this series later on, but there's definitely a share of it.
Yes, absolutely. Things that we love now and probably groaned at when we were kids.
Yeah, there's a lot of that too. Yeah.
Time to shut you down, Bob.
He's on your tail.
Yeah, right. Too cool.
You don't have to fight me, Bob. Think
Now,
about
what does the user see from this?
Right, yeah. I mean, like, the game is over for the user if you're in a plane. If you're in that plane that got, like, destroyed.
Yeah,
This
what
is
is
clearly
what
not
are
a
the
game.
parameters for losing and winning in this game?
Glitch, safety line.
You had your chance to join me, Bob, but now I'm going to infect the supercomputer and return.
I like those
corrupt
metallic chest
me.
bumps, too. Like a detail that you're like, yeah, this guy is just... I love this guy.
Just thought I'd drop in.
The timing is just so good on that.
Yeah,
They got the
it's
timing
true.
good. They got it really great. That is still funny.
Game over.
So the parameters of
It's
winning the game
unstable again.
was for Bob to fall. No, losing the game. Bob has to fall into a portal to the supercomputer, and that's how
You just have to not let him do that.
lost the
Yeah.
I'm back.
I know the portal was somehow
miss me?
linked to the game mechanics, but we weren't quite paying enough attention.
Yeah.
But there was something about
Just a
it, but
little
at
command
that
I
point it was
picked
so
up at the
far
armory.
removed
Like these.
from what the
right.
game itself was.
Lazy loser
You'll
user
see.
doesn't care. The game cost $5. It was in a bin.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just trying to avoid their algebra
Come on,
homework.
get gone back to the diner.
This is true.
Hidden file commands. You gotta love them.
Once they were convinced that you and Bob weren't at the diner, Megabyte and his Klooge boys split. Man, would
Did
they
he
steam!
Klooge?
You know,
Klooge
Bob,
boy. I feel like no
Megabyte will
Klooge. I
never
think is a
forgive you
computer
for
term of
this.
some kind.
Oh, must be.
I forget what it means. I
I just
feel
hope
like
he's
I
got
have.
started.
We need to look it up?
When
Yeah.
he messes with
Apparently
one
I do.
of us, he messes with all of us.
Sounds like you've been hanging around me too long.
Bob, you gotta
That doesn't
tell
seem
me,
like a particularly
what's it like in
un-Bob-like
the
thing to say.
No.
Well, it's got lots of RAM.
Although I guess
incredible
originally the
capacity,
series
and you
was
can
a lot
access
about
almost
like
anything.
he has to belong
nice to
to
visit,
mainframe.
but
He's
it
not
sure
just
is
the guy
good
from the
to be home.
supercomputer, you know.
Yeah, that's right. And he's new.
Yeah.
Cleanup is not my function.
Cecil. See her beautiful shiny white car. Pond.
Yeah.
Fix that.
Again, like you say, she has to live in the basement of the diner with
Yeah.
the little brother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unfortunate
It's tragic,
for her.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mind you, like Bob doesn't exactly seem like the picture of affluence either.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's right. His car is a hunk of junk, as we will see soon. Soon see. She sells soon sees.
So any quick last thoughts?
I never remember that that's the first episode.
Really?
It's good.
Yeah, but it's just like it's a very like introductory episode. Like here's the nuts and bolts of what the show's gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's because it's not as memorable because it doesn't have as much to it as all the other episodes. But yet, I feel like didn't I just read it? How many months did it take for them to create that first episode?
I do not remember off the top of my head because I feel like they were probably working on a couple of episodes at the same time.
I think it was quite a few months, and then by the end of it, they were producing them in just a couple of weeks, which is crazy to think that the level of detail would go up, but the time to create,
the production time would go down. But that was the pace technology was going at the time was the thing. So
yes, it's true.
Yeah, it was kind of keeping up with them as they were trying to stay on the curve. So yeah, that was the first episode of the Reboot Review : It's Alphanumeric. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed it. I think we're still kind of working out some of the kinks in terms of the pacing and stuff, but we hope you learned something, got to relive some things, and we'll be back with episode 2. So until then, stay frosty.
It's alphanumeric.